Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name's Titilayo, Odetola. I'm a Nigerian. I reside in Nigeria, and I sat for my NCLEX on Saturday, 16th of September, and I passed to the glory of God. And I'm here to tell you, how the story went, and to encourage as many as are willing to go on this journey, and to tell everyone that it's indeed doable. It may look challenging, but sincerely, it's something we can all do together. A very good sister of mine, who we work together, you know, told me about Sajpointe. And I said, because I was like, where do I start from? What does it mean altogether? And she said, yeah, there's a group of people that will train you without stress, without, problem. You will just at your pace and this and that. And I said, okay, let's give it a trial. And she recommended Sajpointe. So I did beginner 1, I did beginner 2. I passed all the way until I got to mastery class. Wow. Beginner 2, I think I did it twice because when I got to beginner 2, I was a bit distracted and I think I didn't finish up, my was it beginner 1? One of the classes, I didn't finish up with my tests. And so the recommendation was that I repeat the class. And I said, yes, I would gladly do that. And I think that was the impetus I did. So I said to myself, you cannot afford to miss any of your tests again. And you can't afford to accumulate any test. You do it that same day, irrespective of how tired or, challenging the day might be. And that was what I did. So I did beginner 1, maybe once or twice, beginner 2, once, Then I got to master's class, mastery class. That was the class I dreaded most. That class, there was no lecture, but you have to answer 25 questions in the morning, 25 at night. And 50 questions per day. And I said, what? What is the meaning of this? I was struggling with 20 questions before. Now you are making it 50. Okay. But sincerely, I said to myself, I had made up my mind never to carry over any test. So I was dedicatedly doing the 50 tests every day. I would confidently say master class was no respecter of any person. Mastery class was it for me. I would never forget that class in a hurry in my life, that class. Okay, so that was it. So after my mastery class, and I did that for 1 month, and then moved on to my ATT, my basic class, and about a test class. And I was there for 5 months until, I had to, write my NCLEX. I've been a nurse for almost 30 years now. I got my first license in mid-90s. So I can confidently say, I know what nursing is until I joined Sajpointe. And I realized that nursing in Nigeria is different from nursing in the US. And I had to align myself to that knowledge. I had to align myself to that understanding. Okay, so I have RN, I have RM, and I have so many professional qualifications. In spite of all of this, I still wanted, the US RN, and I was ready to give it all it takes, and I'm happy I did. So fast forward to, I think, July, when my ATT was out. I think just like a week after my ATT, was released by T-Bone, Sajpointe came up with this idea of Sajpointe staffing. And boom, I said to myself, their cutoff will be very high. Don't just go there, because I knew many people would show interest, more so that they were going to, they were also going to catch people from the beginning. So I knew I was expecting a very high cutoff mark, and things like that. But the curiosity to say, don't carry over any test. So I just wanted to see what will their test look like. They were talking about qualifying. So register here, then of course they'll tell you when the test would be and things. So it was just out of curiosity to say, okay, try the test. You never can tell. The knowledge, the questions that you would see there might also help you in your NCLEX preparation. That was the whole thing, motivation that took me to. And boom, I wrote the test. Not that I knew I was going to pass. Not that I knew I was going to pass, but because in my mind, the cutoff mark was going to be very high. I had settled that in my mind. So in my mind, I was just like, please leave this thing for people who are just starting. You are almost, it's just for you to fly and go and do your exam. But out of curiosity, I said, let me try the qualifying exam. And boom, I did it. I think I got 84%. I said in my mind, oh, they will take 95 and above. That kind of a thing to say, because I was expecting. So when only for me to get a mail to say, okay, this is your mark and this is your score and you are being shortlisted for interview. I said shortlisted for interview, just like that. Okay, good. I hand it over to you. Okay, and that was how I sat for the, few other processes, came along the line, and I had to sit for the interview, and I faced, Boss Sandra one-on-one for the interview, and she drilled me for the interview here and there. But eventually at the end of the interview, she said, congratulations, you made it. I said, congratulations, just like that. I remember that day I screamed, and she was looking at me, and I said, boss, please allow me to just to express this joy, because sincerely, I never thought I would get to that point. And she said, congratulations, you made it, you're going to be sponsored. And I said, just like that. Something I was just using to play. And should I say it came just at the right time? That was when the economy of Nigeria was turning like that. And it was like, where does one get money to do all of this? And I'd made up my mind not to cooperative. So it's whatever you can save, you have saved, or you can save that you go with. Okay. But there came this offer. And I said, okay, God, thank you. Okay. And that was how the whole qualifying thing, it was very transparent. I didn't have to know anybody. I didn't have to lobby anybody. It was very transparent, and that was it. And so the support I got, yes, the flights was paid for, fully paid for by Sajpointe. At every country, I got to. It was a beautiful experience. But Sandra was on my, my heels, so to speak. She was following me up bumper to bumper, in the sense that she didn't allow me to get stranded in any way, in any place I got to. She would always be there. It was as if I could almost palpate her physical presence. It was that beautiful, I could almost palpate her physical presence. It was as if she was just there right next to you. Okay, and I said, yes, this is what it looks like. So I remember the day I wrote my NCLEX, and she called me thereafter. We spoke, and she said, do you want me to do your pop-up? And I said, please, don't do any pop-up now. Please, let me go back to my hotel room. Let me go and eat and sleep. Maybe after 24 hours, when my brain settles down, we can begin to talk about, because I didn't want anything, because the exam, I was like, what kind of an exam is this? All the things we had been taught. I've been in class for like 10 months, for heaven's sake. So what exactly? Because it was NCLEX that made me to know that knowledge alone is not what, nursing is about. You can have good knowledge, but for NCLEX, you need to be able to translate that knowledge that you have, that content that you've been accumulating. You must be able to transfer it and apply it to your client's care and outcome, how the outcome will be improved. So all that we've been taught about A, B, C, D, E, F, yes, NCLEX will not ask you like that, A, B, C, D, E, F. NCLEX would expect you to translate your knowledge, the knowledge and the content into the care of the patient. How will that, work? Thank you very much. Yes, what was helpful in my NCLEX preparation? I would say the first thing, without trying to sound so godly, is to say the first motivation I had was God assuring that He was going to help me, because candidly, I'm a very busy person. So combining this as a side hustle for me was going to be like, are you sure you can do this? But sincerely, once I heard go. I did not look at what was going to be, what the challenges that were going to come across my way. So I started. So the resources that helped me, Sajpointe classes with it, like I told you earlier, from beginner one, beginner two, mastery class. I was doing those classes and I was doing all my tests. Every day I made sure I never carried over any test. And I made sure I read rationales very, very well. So that in case you know, in case I come across any similar thinking, I would able to say, okay, it cannot be A. This is why it cannot be A. This is why it cannot be B. This is why it cannot be C. This is why it has to be D. And I must tell you that critical analysis was what helped me in NCLEX, because the erasable board that they give, I collected 3, because every question I would analyze. And I would tell myself why it cannot be A, why it cannot be B, why it cannot be C, why it has to be D, so that before I could choose any option, I knew why others were wrong, at least for most of the questions that I thought I knew very well. Okay, I knew. So thank you very much. Then, like I said, I attended all my classes, I attempted all my tests. Then I subscribed to you World with Sajpointe. Boss Chris, God bless him. I called him. I remember the day I called him. I said, I want to share. I want to peer. I'm looking for somebody to peer you Word with. And he spoke with me at length and said, even though, yes, people share, but he encouraged me to get my U Word single as the only subscriber. And I should not see, so that I would exactly know the ones I had answered, not the one that somebody else had answered, that I thought I would begin to say, and I may answer this one, not be me answer this one. So he encouraged me and said, even though it's a bit more expensive, but I should think of how much I had paid, being a self-sponsored, subscriber from the beginning of CGFNS and, the NCLEX journey, that how much more, would I now, what do I think I want to save? How much more do I want to save by just, by peering you World? That I should just look at, So he spoke with me for like 25 minutes, and I said to myself, I am going to subscribe to you World single Lally. And I remember there was people, they had asked me to put it on the platform. And so people were already coming to my inbox. I'm interested. I had to tell people, I said, I'm sorry. I had made up my mind not to pair with anybody again. I'm so sorry. But I was explaining so politely to everybody, I would do this alone. And people were like, you get money. I said, it's not about getting money. But if I think of how much I had spent before and how much I'm spending now, it's the same thing. And that was it. Okay, so, and that was what helped me. I was able to do all that I needed to do. I want to appreciate God. Appreciate all the bosses in the house that helped me in this journey. Particularly, I want to thank Boss Evelyn. You were God sent. Boss Chris, thank you very much for always being there. Boss Joy, thank you. Boss Joy was appointed to me by Sajpointe staffing, and the last minute drilling was it for me. Thank you. Then Boss Sandra was always there. I enjoyed all the EKG classes. I enjoyed the pharmacology classes. In fact, there was a point I felt like going back to school, where they taught me pharmacology. Say, please give me back my money. You people did not teach me nothing, because of the way Boss Sandra simplified pharmacology, and I was able to use the knowledge, in exams. Once again, thank you everybody that's, contributed to the success of this. Most importantly, I return all the glory to God. You can do it, my people.